Good afternoon, Facebook Live. This is Jabari Long with episode 7 of the Long Report. Today we're going to be talking about resources to assist the entrepreneur and the self-employed. Many of you know I've been self-employed for several years now, and I haven't seen the environment go so much behind entrepreneurship and so many resources available for the person that wants to go into business. So I listed a website, www.detroitbizgrid.com. That is a site that's geared to help the entrepreneur, the self-employed, navigate through the many resources that are available to help the entrepreneur. It's actually in the directory. And in that directory, you can find funding resources, resources to help with business planning. They help businesses from just the idea, right? You haven't started the business, you haven't formed your company, to an existing business that is just looking to grow or expand. This site has been around for a while, and I'm not sure that people are actually utilizing it as much as they can. When I talk to business owners, they might say, I've been denied for a business loan. Nobody's going to loan me any money to start this business. My credit is not the best, or I filed bankruptcy in the past, or had a foreclosure on my credit. These companies listed on this website actually cater toward people that have been denied by a traditional bank. In some instances, there are some organizations on here that will not loan to you until you produce 2 denial letters from traditional lenders saying that they would not loan you money to grow or expand your business. So I definitely want people to log on and check out the resource they have available. If you or anybody you know are thinking about growing or starting a business, these resources are definitely available to you. Now, although it's a Detroit Biz Grid and they are highly invested in loaning and funding and helping Detroit-based businesses. However, it's not exclusive to businesses that are in Detroit. What I would say is that depending on what type of business that you have, it would be who of you to try to develop a presence in Detroit. And I mean a presence as in going to a UPS store, establish a box with a Detroit address so that you can actually get mail there and label yourself a quote-unquote Detroit-based business. I do know that most of these resources have thresholds. And if you're outside the boundaries of Detroit or your business is based outside of Detroit, there are certain thresholds and guidelines that they have to stay within. Because, of course, they're allocated funds to actually grow the Detroit base, the tax base, and provide employment opportunities for Detroit-based residents. So it's easy enough for you to establish a Detroit residence or a Detroit address for your business to take advantage of these resources. So, as I said, ideal, new startup, or existing businesses can benefit from these. So I just want to give you all a few examples of some people that I know that have benefited from some of these resources. So I know a guy who he has a CDL license. He's drives trucks for years, and he wanted to purchase some 18-wheelers or some trucks for himself, some rigs, so that he can be an owner-operator as opposed to hopping in somebody else's trucks. One of these organizations loaned him, I want to say $48,000 to buy 2 trucks. Of course, they collateralized the trucks as the collateral for the loan, and now he's off and running. You know, he's driving one of the vehicles and has hired another truck driver to drive his other truck. So 2.2 seconds, he goes from being an employee to an employer. And with these resources, he was able to benefit from that. I know a young lady who had some units, some residential housing units that she needed to rehab and redevelop. and one of the organizations gave her 200 grand to fund that project. And that organization was only one of the lenders that participated in the funding of their project. So one good thing about these organizations, if they cannot help you, then it's very likely that they will point you in the right direction of another lender or funding source that will be able to assist you in your needs. Or they might say, well, we'll loan half of it and we'll go to this organization to loan you the other half. Okay? And that's what happened with this friend of mine. One organization loaned her 200 grand and she says, Jabari, I didn't even have a 500 credit score and they still loaned me the money. So everybody who's saying, oh, my credit is messed up and, I know I'm not going to be able to qualify, stop telling yourself that. There's a process that you have to go through. You're not going to be able to walk in and probably get the money that day. But I assure you, if you are a good candidate to get a loan, then these organizations will make sure that you get it. Okay? The third person I want to highlight is a contractor. It's a buddy of mine who got a contractor's line of credit from one of the organizations. And what that did for his business is, if you're in the construction business, you know that some jobs you have to front the materials and the labor out your pocket and not get paid a penny until the entire job is completed. And if you have been in business before, you know that could, strangle your cash flow. So this organization gave him a line of credit to be able to basically finance his jobs. And when he got paid, he would pay them back first and be able to keep the difference. So they financed 100% of his projects up to his loan limit. So these are just three examples of people that I know that have benefited from these loans from these, what I like to call non-traditional funders. So, and I've been spending a lot of time talking about loans, but business planning, resources to facilitate deals. If you are an entrepreneur and you're looking for properties, there are resources available to match you up with properties or landlords that are willing to lease to you or even sell to you to operate existing businesses. I know one of the big things now is new restaurants and bars, opening up in the city. And there's a lot of foodies out here who are cooking out of their home. It's a right time. The environment is very open to people opening up new restaurants, and the resources are there to not only acquire the buildings, but also to build out commercial kitchens and things of that nature. So the days and times when people can use excuses saying I don't qualify, the resources are not available, or the two words that I absolutely hate is I can't, are over. The resources are there. Now, there's one organization I kind of want to highlight a little bit more than others, and it's called the Detroit Development Fund. This fund is set up to basically increase entrepreneurship, business ownership for Detroit-based businesses. But they offer that line of credit to contractors. They offer loans if you're doing some apartment building renovations and some deals and types of deals that, one, are in the path of growth, or two, will have some transformational impact once they're completed. So this Detroit Development Fund has a fund within their fund called the Entrpreneur of Color Fund. And one of my companies, Priceless Preservations, was a recipient of a loan from this Entrpreneur of Color Fund. And I believe that it's sponsored by Chase Bank. Their initial donation or allocation to the fund was $6 million. And once the Detroit Development Fund, or the DDF, spent that, then Chase reallocated more funds for them to loan to Detroit-based businesses and entrepreneurs of color. So definitely want to highlight and keep in mind that these funding institutions, their performance is based off how much money they spend or how much money they loan. So if their funders, the Chase, the Kellogg Foundation, see that they aren't loaning the money, then won't reallocate it, and sometimes they'll pull it back. The only way that these institutions can loan the money is if business owners like you and I go down there and apply and ask for it. We got to ask for the money. If they got $8 million and they don't know how to spend it, they don't have enough business owners knocking on their door and saying, please loan me money to help grow or fund my business, then they get a bad report card and have to give the money back. So I'm employing the people watching this video, the people that are compelled to share this video, to go online, check out the website, contact these institutions to see how they can assist you and assist your business. And I want to end with this. If you are denied for a loan, or you are unable to get it initially when you go and apply, don't get discouraged. I find that people tend to get denied or not be approved for things for three main reasons. One is familiarity. When I say familiarity, I mean oftentimes individuals don't have a personal contact that they know within organizations that say, okay, Susie meet Joe, Joe meets Susie, she's the lender, Joe is the business owner. I want to connect you all, and hopefully, Susie, that you can help to facilitate a loan for my friend Joe. Okay? Familiarity. We need to look for that familiarity. We need to do Facebook posts online. We need to go into these groups, utilize social media to see who knows somebody within one of these organizations that can personally introduce you to a lender. It's not a requirement, but it's kind of like Cheers. We all want to go where people know our name. So I feel much more comfortable if I can go into an office to apply for something if a friend of mine has personally recommended me or personally told that person at the bank that I will be calling because I'm looking for a loan. So if you don't have familiarity, get it. Get it. The second part of it is lingo. Oftentimes we don't understand the lingo that people are speaking to us in. I got a very good friend of mine. We do a lot of business. Her first language is not English. When she speaks Malaysian, I don't understand her. But when she speaks English, we communicate very well. When you're going in looking for a loan or some type of resource, if you don't understand the terminology that the people are using when they're speaking to you, make sure that you ask those questions. You take notes. You write down that lingo so that you can have an opportunity to research and get an understanding of what they mean when they're saying certain things to you. Just don't say, okay, I understand, and shake your head when really you got like deer in the headlights. You really don't understand what it is that they mean. So I feel like that's the second reason why oftentimes people don't qualify and are apprehensive about going back to try to see if they can get approved for a loan. And the last part is the process. There's a process to get anything done. Some processes are longer than others. You have to understand the process and have the right expectation. Sometimes to get approved for a loan, it might take 6 months. Sometimes it might take 45 days. Who knows? There are some instances where these lenders will require you to work in that business that you want to get a loan in that industry for a year before they loan to you. So if you want to open up a restaurant, they might say, well, we require you as a condition upon this loan for you to go work for somebody who owns a restaurant and learn the business from the inside out, which is not a bad thing. So yeah, they won't loan it to you today, but they're saying that we have the money and we will allocate it to you if in fact you go work within this business for a year to gain that practical experience which you do need to run your own business. So familiarity, lingo, and process. Don't allow those three things or lack of an understanding of those three things to be obstacles in you not fulfilling your dreams and aspirations with regards to your entrepreneurship endeavors. So, once again, this is Jabari Long with episode 7 of the Long Report. Be sure to check out the website, DetroitBizGrid.com, for tons and tons of resources. Thank you.